Hey, y'all, welcome back to our channel. And if you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. Remember to follow all of our platforms, and you can find them by going to Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's show is for Tuesday, January 2nd. I'm Jay, and today Joe and I will be discussing homelessness and its impact in modern day America. Well, this topic you and I have discussed for quite a while for doing, so here we are.
Yeah, man. It saddens me, especially on the holidays, right?
Yeah.
That there's still in a nation so strong, so powerful, that there's still an issue with homelessness. It's not just an issue; it's a rising issue.
Oh yeah.
So it's sad, man. And I, to all our listeners out there, I hope that we help these people. They're Americans. At the end of the day, they're Americans, right? Right here,
That's right.
helping. Where you have these governments who are so quick to help illegal aliens, but we can't even help our own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It saddens me, America.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Let's get into this.
Let's get it on.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us once again. And yeah, here we go. We're back to another episode here, and this one is on homelessness in America.
Yeah, that's crazy to hear. Still in a modern society like ours, that there's still a problem with homelessness. You know what I think the biggest thing, Jay, that upset me the most was when we had this open border policy clearly with this current administration, and states were doing anything they could to house these illegal, right, doing humanitarian, showcasing it on TV, saying, "Look what I'm doing," blah blah blah. And all in the meantime, they're shoving the American homeless off to the side, like insignificant, not important. These people are coming from other countries, and we need to make sure they're here okay, because the eyes of the world are upon us, and we got to show that we are decent Americans. But can we really say we are, though? I mean, can we? I mean, if right now I'm in another city and I'm looking at some of the, just driving around, like going from point A to point B, I kid you not, I see maybe like 3 or 4 different little tent cities. Right. Yeah. And these aren't your typical tent cities, Jay, where, you have the local grocery shopping cart filled with, all kinds of stuff. Right. There's cars parked in the middle of the desert, like vehicles. Yeah. And then they have these tents. Like, these people had a life before, whether it's the economy, whether it's mental health, whatever the cause or reason is that they're out there and they're homeless now. That's one, frightening, and 2, sad, because they probably have kids. I'm going somewhere, so I don't have the time to stop and investigate. But, like, what can I offer? I mean? It's just, you see these things and you're thinking, man, have we really gone this bad as a society that it's more important how we look to people on the outside of our nation than what really is important in how we as citizens see our own nation? Yeah. It's sad. I don't know. I just think that we have a clear problem. The U.S. Census states that there were 582,000 Americans experiencing homelessness. That's a crazy lot. That is a lot of people. I'm sure those numbers have risen since the last census, but that's discouraging. You see that, and then you see, like, there's this guy I follow on one of my social media platforms, and he basically what does, he interviews people out in the streets of Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yep, I've seen him.
And these people clearly have drug addiction problems. They're but if you listen to what they're talking about, the addiction is a result of a core issue, right? So I mean, you have to consider there's the whole post-COVID policies that really impacted America and did a lot of damage. Mental health issues that in our podcast, we talk about that a lot. Right. You and I, we talk a lot, whether it's just men-related mental health or mental health in general as a whole. We talk about it a lot. Clearly, that's an issue.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Financial, right? And we're living right now in an economy that is horrible. One of the worst that I've seen. Abuse. There's always that child abuse, elderly abuse, any kind of abuse that happens in a household. A lot of times people don't have resources, right? Or they're scared to go to resources, or they just get kicked out of their homes and they find themselves homeless,
right.
Addiction, clearly. But some of these things and it's something that you and I have talked about, is those nuclear families, those core family values. A lot of these families are either single parent, or the parent is drug addicted, or they're working, whatever the case is. They don't have that time to spend with their kids, or
right.
Someone calls CPS and because of possible issues at home with a stepdad or dad or whatever the case is, or a mom or whatever, they get removed from the homes and they go into the system, and that system isn't good. I know people that work for CPS, bro, and I they got piles this high, like literally, of cases that they don't follow up on.
Right.
They are overworked, understaffed, right? That's our government in general.
Right.
And these people, they can't do follow up on some of these kids. So they get lost in the system. They run away because there might be abuse. Some of these people, I hate to say it, but a lot of these people, when they do like those temporary housing, like foster care and stuff, they get paid by the government.
Right.
They pay you.
I know somebody that used to do foster care, and they did it primarily for the money.
Yeah, so. And that's sad. But you know what? For those that do foster care and do a great job, I applaud you, because opening your home to a total stranger. Some of these kids have real mental health issues, physical issues. You guys are great citizens. You guys are doing a great job. But for those that just use it for the money, and then on top of that abuse these children,
right?
They're the ones that end up in the street. They're the ones that are out there that are homeless or veterans. Right? Most of them suffering from PTSD or some kind of mental health issue because of what they've been through. Homeless. I mean, those are the last citizens that should ever be homeless.
That's right.
They're the first ones on the front lines and willing to die for this country, but they're the last we think about when they're home. To me, it's sad, bro. I don't know, but it's like, it's a problem and we need to address it.
Yeah. Well, if you ask folks like in, like, say, Los Angeles, where they have it's probably one of the fastest growing homeless populace.
Actually, it's the number one highest homeless states in the U.S. Second being New York.
Yeah, and there's a common denominator there, but we don't even need to talk about that anymore.
So I know. Before you go, so what I said was 582,000 homeless, right? Of those, there is 171,521 in California alone. That's just California, bro. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to put those numbers out there.
That's good, and people need to hear that number. And the sad thing is we hear that number all the time, right? Those numbers, and that California has rising homeless issues. It's a joke as far as like San Francisco and stuff, where it's talked about that they're cleaning doo-doo off the street all the time and all this kind of stuff.
Baby Jesus was cleaning them out in the shoreline. I don't know if you saw last week all those powerful winds that were washing the shore. Yeah.
So good stuff. So if you ask any of those people that are in charge, like in San Francisco or LA, they will, and you say, what's the number one problem? That what they will say, and look it up. Whether you Google it, whether you look up, YouTube videos of these people being interviewed and talked to, they'll always say it's housing is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the issue is homelessness, right? And the issue is mental health. It's not that we don't have housing. And if they want to fix the housing issue, well, they're creating the policies that are making it inaffordable for even working class people to live normally. And that's the sad thing, is the middle class, these normal working people, are the ones that are ending up in these cars, that are ending up in these tents.
Let me ask you this.
Stuff like that.
How is the housing the problem?
Well, because they feel that there's not enough housing for these people, or domiciles, places for these people.
Are you kidding me right now? Have you seen the growth, the booms in some of these cities?
Yeah.
In houses? There's some sitting abandoned right now because
that's right.
Because one, they can't afford them because of the current situation. But that to me seems like a excuse.
Well, you know what it is? These people have no idea what they're doing, and they don't deserve to be in the positions they're in. And somebody may fire back, well, what would you do? You don't know what to do. Yeah. And I'm not in that position either. And the thing is that it's really simple. You have a bunch of, folks that are running a state and a government system into the ground with policies that are complete garbage. Everybody knows it, and everybody's afraid to say anything because these people have so much power, when it comes to it. And
they're swinging votes. That's what they're doing. They're just swinging votes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if Joe and I are going to open 2 ice cream shops right across the street from each other.
We are.
Yeah, ice cream.
I'm going to go broke, bro. I'm going to eat there all day.
Well, this is why you're going to go broke. My ice cream shop, I'm going to charge regular prices, a little, maybe the same price as the normal ice cream shop around the valley, but we're going to have fresh fruit and all that kind of stuff that we're going to mix into the ice cream. You're going to do the exact same concept, but you know what? You're going to offer free ice cream to everybody. Yeah. Which place is going to be the busiest?
Mine.
Yeah, of course.
By far.
But which place is going to go out of business?
Probably yours.
Yeah. Well, we're both going to go out of business, right?
Yeah, we will, because I have one. I'm spending money on buying this stuff, but not getting anything in return, which gives me more clientele. Right. And you have no clientele, so in turn, you're wasting product because
that's right.
No one's buying it.
So we're trying to be nice to people, giving stuff away free, right?
It's a gimmick.
It's hindering everybody. It's hurting everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So now the people that were getting the free ice cream no longer can get ice cream because both ice cream places are shut down. The businessman that wanted to create a business, because all of this stuff these laws have been created where you can loot and steal from me, and I still have to pay for it. Okay. That's putting me out of business. And all this free money and all this stuff it's not helping anybody. The thing is that there's so little that goes into these systems, and our money is being poured into the wrong places. So the next thing, if you ask any of those people, so what's the major problem? Okay, you say housing's the issue, right? Okay, so why don't we fix that? Well, we don't have the funds, we don't have the money. Yet in San Francisco, everybody's seen this. San Francisco's horrible with their homeless problem, people all over the streets. And in 2 days' time, they took all of those people, completely cleaned them up off the streets for a foreign dignitary that was coming into our country to visit. And they were able to.
Communist.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a whole different thing there, So we are able to do this. We do have the money to do this. And anybody that says that we don't have the funds to do all these different things, I beg to differ. We consistently send tons of money to other countries to fight bogus wars, right? In other countries, and Ukraine. Yeah. And we don't have the money to take care of our own people or do stuff right here at home. Here's the thing, guys. Remember the little ice cream story? It's kind of silly, kind of simple. But the thing is if our country one day, let's push it way out. Let's push it 50 years from now. We've finally driven all of our middle class and everybody into the ground. Nobody can afford anything because now we're paying even more taxes for more systems, right? That still aren't working, and we still need to create more systems for more systems that didn't work, right?
Exactly.
And now you've overtaxed everybody. Nobody has a job anymore because AI and robots have taken over everything. And now,
thanks, McDonald's.
Now our country is in the dumps. Who is going to give the money to places like Ukraine and whatever place you want to stand behind and back and all this kind of stuff? At one point or another, there will no longer be other people's money to give away, right? So you got to start looking. We have to start looking at, one is ourselves, our belief system, and then how we vote and how we back politicians that are doing completely idiotic stuff, right? That
like
is
Newsom?
not helping. Oh man.
So here's the thing. Newsom was talking about getting reparations and all these other things, right? Just this state is out of control.
Yeah. So where's that money coming from? And why couldn't you help the homeless? Here's the thing. So what is the big populace of homeless people in California?
Probably white.
Yeah. Well, there's everybody out there, right? And there's a lot of veterans, and there is a lot of black people, unfortunately.
Well, there's a steady balance of, I think, everything out there as far as homelessness. But even the homeless are moving out. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Right.
The homeless are leaving because there's no room for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, and the problem is that they'll and let's be honest. When you have homelessness, you create a level of problems with hygiene, right? There's a mess wherever they're at. Their encampments are filthy and all kinds of things, right? We don't have facilities. They don't have them.
Right. Hepatitis was on the rise. Yeah. There's all kinds of issues.
So, and these guys are still out there fornicating, they're, and with that, the spread of disease, all
right.
But what does the government want to do? They want to give out needles for drug addicts, right? Instead of send a van out there with medical personnel and do free clinics and help the homeless, give them a place to live. I don't know. There's so many corporations out there that want to, that need, workers, give them housing, and let them work it off. And whatever the case is, there's solutions to everything. Let me tell you something about California though. California is horrible, right? I was born and raised there. Doesn't seem much for me, but I was also educated there, so it still doesn't say much for me. But California,
beautiful state.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. But here's the thing though. I don't blame the state. I blame the people who run it. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And currently Newsom is doing a horrible job. So, he was talking about all these expenditures, all the things he wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. And this is somebody. So just think about it. You get minimum wage at a job, right? But then you're talking about, I want to buy this boat. I want to get this car. You're living beyond your means. You have to kind of like bring that down a little bit and be more realistic.
Right.
Either get another job or get a better job or cut down on what you want to buy, right? Until you have money. Newsom is that kid, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So
now he has a endless pocketbook, checkbook from Daddy, which is Daddy California.
Well, here's the thing: it's not endless. Right now they're facing a $32 billion deficit. $32 billion deficit in California. That's what they're facing right now.
Yeah.
So they've started cutting down on some of these expenditures. Right. You're not going to hear about reparations anymore. Not with a $32 billion deficit.
Right.
Right. But still, the general fund is still the second highest on record. You know what their general fund is? It is $308 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of zeros.
That's a lot of zeros. But when you're that much in the hole, that $32 billion is a lot in a deficit. But that just goes
a lot to dig out of that.
It does. But what that deficit doesn't just stop there, right? It keeps inflating and inflating and inflating, right? Because you still have to operate daily. I said that really weird. You still have to operate. Yeah, it sounded so Mexican. You still have to operate.
That's your Californian coming out.
I was like, I even heard. I thought, I'm like, who is talking right now? But you have to operate. You still have to operate the state. Just because you have a deficit, right? You can't stop there. How long have we been in deficit as the U.S.? A long time, right? Time. So we still have to function though. Right. So we still have to operate. That's the same thing. But the thing is, you can't be creating programs that one are relevant and stupid and a waste of money, just to win votes.
Right.
No one. At the end of the day,
that's what they do, and people are dumb enough to vote for that year after year. And the thing is, the really sad thing is, the same people vote for the same stuff year after year, expecting the same. What was that Einstein quote? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Yeah. And that's what these folks do, expecting that there's going to be some kind of difference in the outcome.
Let's be honest, man. These politicians, I don't care if you're left, right, middle,
they all suck.
They're all going to lie to you to get what they want. The end result is the power, right?
Yeah.
But here's what people don't understand: that as a society, we need to look out for each other, because the government's not going to do it. And if you expect the government to come and bail you out, you are highly mistaken, right? We need to do for our own good, for our society to survive. We need to do better. This homelessness is not going to go away.
No.
And if we continue to just ignore it, it's going to be in our backyards. And what does homelessness bring with it? What does it bring? It brings drug addiction, right? So drug dealings, violence, things like that. It brings domestic violence,
theft, and
prostitution,
blight on the community.
It brings prostitution, which, hey, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Who am I to judge?
I support single moms.
I support single women. Criminal activity, like food stamps, right? People get food stamps, they sell them for drugs, they sell them for whatever.
Yeah.
And ultimately death. You know how they find dead people all the time in downtown Phoenix, you know?
Yeah.
They in cold weather. I don't know if you've ever, like, anybody's been downtown Phoenix and when it's really cold, and at night you guys know it gets cold here. Really cold.
Mm-hmm. It surprises people. They're like, oh, come on, cold. It's like 73 degrees. Now it gets really cold.
Okay, bro, look, I was at like 47 degrees. I had shorts on and a pullover in snow in Michigan. 50 degrees here, I'm bundled up. I got like 3 shirts on, pants. I'm cold. It's weird.
It's a different kind of cold.
It really is. But imagine someone that's 80 years old.
Yeah, that breaks my heart.
80 years old. They have one of those blankets that U-Haul uses to move stuff.
Yeah.
Those packing ones, right? Not those little thick ones that you pay an extra $10 for, but the free ones they throw in the vans.
Right.
The little
basically fall apart if you pull them hard enough. Yeah.
They're walking around with those covered, right? Man. So,
and if they get wet, I mean, they're done. They're
which we're in, Arizona's a desert, so you're gonna have condensation, right? You're gonna have some kind of, it's gonna get wet somehow. But just imagine them coming down. It's 30, 40 degrees. You think they're gonna survive that, especially at older age? You know what I mean? These are the things that we're facing. These are things that is in our backyards today. And we have to do better than that. If we keep relying on our government to help bail us out from simple,
because they've done so great so far.
Oh, fabulous! Just like any kind of humanitarian effort for our own nation is unheard of. We'll do it for everybody else, brother.
Right?
I'm telling you, like, who broke their toe? Oh, let's go down there and let's go save the rest of the populace down there. You know what? They're trying to invade them. Let's take our citizens' guns away and empower their people to have guns.
Yeah,
you bunch of hypocrites. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That how does that work? How could you be two-faced, and how could people sit there and see that and turn a blind eye? You know, just think about it. You know, we go to these coffee shops that charge you $7 for a cup of coffee, right? I'm guilty of it, but we can't spare change to somebody who's out in these conditions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that as a society, we have also fallen short of being better than politicians. We're no better.
Right.
You know,
well there's been, over the years, a lot of studies and things done with the human condition and how we will help one another. And if you leave it up to individuals and communities and everything, they tend to help each other. So now this is drawing it way back, but if you take it to a community like the Amish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those folks will say, okay, so Billy's growing up or whatever, he's going to marry Susie over here, and they want to have a house and they want to stay here. They're not going to decide to move out of the Amish neighborhood. They're going to stay here. The entire community will get together and help them build a house. The whole community, right?
Not only that, they'll help them move it. Have you seen them move a house?
Dude, those people are they're amazing, man.
I'm like, y'all need a moving company.
And so the reason I use them as an example is because they're still living kind of in the past, right? Mm-hmm. Modern day in the past. Mm-hmm. Now there's still communities that are somewhat like that throughout the United States and and throughout the world. There's places that are, very community based and where people still will help one another out. The problem becomes is that we have been overtaxed and overworked and everything, and people are like, you know what? And this is the problem that I have, and I don't want to get off on topic because we are on the homelessness deal, but the desire for this socialist kind of thing. You guys can already see we are treading farther and farther down the socialist path with all of these programs and everything, and they're not working. They're not working. We see this, right?
Yeah.
And what do they say? Just give us 20 more billion and we'll fix the environment. Give us, 80 more billion and we'll fix the, water supply. Give us 100 billion more and we'll fit. They can't fix it because they don't know how to use the funds properly. Now, going back to what I started talking about, when there's been studies done that people on their own will help people within their communities and give and do things like that when guess when they have the funds and the money and the time and all those kind of things to do so. So the thing is the more that the government gets involved in our lives, takes more money from us. We had a giant tea party years ago over a 3% tax.
We need another one.
A 3% tax. We were fighting our own government over a 3% tax. And now most people are taxed well over 35%. It's into the 40 and some people 50 and 60%, right? So are you kidding me? Like if you had that other half of your paycheck, how many people could you help? And not just you. Let's say, well, if I had half of my paycheck, shoot, I could do a bunch of things for my family and I could give $10 this month to somebody that's homeless. Well, you could give $10 to somebody that's homeless and I could give $10. That's $30 between 3 people. And if you're sitting there and you have somebody next to you, that's another $10. That's $40. Imagine what $40 would do to help somebody that's homeless. That's 4 people giving. There's millions of people in this, surrounding city. And then when you get to California and all these other states that are huge, Texas, and everybody's moving to Florida.
But think about it, bro. We spend that money on coffee.
Yeah. And
every day.
Right?
There's people that go to these places every day. I do sometimes. But
you know I make my own coffee.
Oh, I know you do. It's very delicious. Thank you. But you know what I mean? I mean, why can't you go a day without coffee? Or make your coffee at home one day. Right.
Stop making Starbucks rich.
Yeah, they're lefties anyway.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is how much are they doing to help homeless people? And here's a big one. They opened, and I don't remember what city it was. They did this in, and they said, like homeless people could come in and use their restrooms and didn't have to pay and all this kind of stuff. And they ended up squashing all that because guess what happened? You got people coming in and just sitting there and not buying coffee and they're not making any money. They are a business. They have to make money, right? And the thing is if they truly, as the lefties they are, if they truly cared about the environment, if they truly cared about Starbucks still serves tons of stuff in plastic. I don't care if they got rid of straws in California. Half of their stuff is all plicking. All their wax or their paper cups.
Everything else is plastic.
Yeah, it has a plastic micro lining in it so the paper cup doesn't get wet. I mean, they don't care. They say it so they get your support and your votes, just like all the politicians do. But they truly don't care. If they did, they would ban cups, right? They would say you have to bring your own, and it has to be a metal or glass or whatever cup that you have to bring in. They don't care, right? They don't care about the homeless because they are in tons of cities. They make tons of money and they can help homeless people, but they don't give back to the communities. And you know what? Smart of them. If we own Starbucks, I wouldn't be giving anything to the city of San Francisco, or any of these other places because they don't handle the funds properly anyways. No. And that's the biggest problem. We don't have a lack of money problem. We have a spending problem. We have children that are in office. We have children that are running our institutions and people that are incentivized personally, right, to make decisions that aren't good for the bulk of people, that are good for them and their specific folks that are making money, whether it's stock market stuff or things from builders. I mean, how many times are these construction projects that never happen? I mean, look at the high-speed train system. Just look into that. I'm not even going to talk about that anymore. I think I've talked about it 2 or 3 times on different episodes we've had. Just look into the high-speed train system that was supposed to be implemented in California. How much money and how much people were taxed. There's bond measures that, have been paid. None of that stuff ever took place.
They're not.
And so where'd that money go, right?
Yeah.
Where'd that money go? If we're not going to build that train, let's use that money to help homeless veterans or something, pick something and do it. But again, we keep it, like Joe said, it is our fault. We are allowing these people in office to continue to be in office. I mean, there was a deal to kick that guy out of office and people voted him right back in. Let's leave him in. We really like this guy, and he's just tearing the state apart.
He's running it to the ground. He's running it.
He's a ding dong. If nothing else, during COVID, when he went to the French Laundry, he had told everybody they need to stay home and mask up and get your vax and all this kind of stuff. I don't care what your position is on any of that. If you like it, you don't like it, whatever. The fact that he was doing that and telling everybody how to do that, and he went to that restaurant with all of his buddies, and they were having a grand old time, all by right.
Hypocrisy.
I mean,
we've said that many times.
If nothing else would convince you that the guy does not care about the public or anything else. I mean, and his aunt, same deal. They are hypocrites
Pelosi?
To the core. Yes.
Yeah.
That lady is just, man.
She's crazy.
She is she's crazy.
But here's the thing, Jay, that it saddens me to see, because, I'm a parent, and I don't have young kids anymore, but you see these children out there, you have these vulnerable groups, the elderly, the veterans, and of course the young children.
Yeah. School age children.
Yeah. And they're out there, but even now, some of these parents who are homeless, they have this younger children, like babies and stuff out there. And it's sad to see, because, as a society, as a nation as powerful as ours, is so vested in protecting this nation of ours with one of the strongest and biggest military forces around. We should do a little bit more for our citizens. We really, in the country that we're in, there shouldn't be homelessness, or not to this degree, and it's crazy, because I think that all of us, not just the government, we all have a role to play in this, and me included. We talk about it, we discuss it, but what are we doing about it? Are we sending, are we taking stuff to the Goodwill to get a tax write-off so that they could sell it and then make money, and in turn, I don't know what they fund. I'm sure there's programs that help, but a lot of us have old blankets, clothes, stuff that we could go take to these people and say, like, here, man, cover yourself, stay warm tonight, food, all kinds of things. It saddens me only because I don't like seeing people on the streets. I mean, shoot, as a kid, I used to walk from one place to another, and I was already dying. I was like, I can't do this, man. This is too much. I need a car. You know what I mean? And these people that are homeless, I mean, they get into this cycle of either drug abuse, crime, whatever it is. And then now you've added to that problem, right?
Right.
It's no longer just being homeless, no money. Now you're drug addicted, or now you're being sold, or now, I mean, you're telling me right now that downtown, any major city that has a high problem with homelessness, which is probably every city at this point, you're telling me that there's no sex trafficking happening there? There people are disappearing. Why? Because no one counts to these people. They're subhuman to society. We look at them and we just, what do? We don't even walk on the same side of the sidewalk. We go around. We're like, they're stinky. You know what I mean? I mean, where have we gone as society ourselves, man? We need to do better. And my hopes are not in today's generations. They're really not. I'm not gonna lie. We need to straighten out a little bit. We need to kind of get back to basics. You heard that working a business. You've heard that a lot. Get back to basics. Yeah. Because clearly everything we've done is not working. Let's get back to the basics.
Yeah.
And we have to, as a society, and I know, and a lot of you guys out there know that me and Jay, we are Christian in faith. Mm-hmm. But we have to, we have to do stuff for our own humanity, for our own,
that's right,
our own kind, and that's the biggest thing is help our fellow man.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much. There's a lot of great charities out there. Family Promise. There is Coalition for the Homeless. There's Stand Up for Kids. There's the U.S. Veterans Initiative. There's a lot of places that we could donate. If you don't want to go out in the streets and expose yourself to the reality of homelessness, and you just want to do it through a charitable event, group, then do so. But do something. At this point, we have to stand up for those who don't have a voice, right? Yeah. And it's them, and it's unfortunate. It's sad at the same time because, we're in even some of America's poorest people who live, let's say, in a, I don't want to say like impoverished level, but who are poor. I've seen a lot of these poor folks in Michigan, how they live. Some of these have no lighting, have no nothing. but they have a house, they have a roof, they have these people. Imagine, Jay, just sleeping on the sidewalk. An
Right.
80-year-old, imagine an 80-year-old grandpa, someone's grandparent, sleeping on the sidewalk. Like, how bad
That's
has
a
it gone?
horrible thought.
How bad has it gotten to where you like forget about that person? Like all these people that are homeless, they have a family
somewhere, right?
And to think that no one looks after them or like, hey, where's Uncle Bob or where's Uncle Joe, Seppi? You know, where are they at? Well, they're homeless, bro.
Yeah.
You go get them. Don't. I mean, it's sad. I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but it's sad.
You're 100%. But you had mentioned something earlier, and I think that's a big part of it. Is just the whole family unit has dried up and disappeared because. So for a lot of those people that are homeless, and we're like, gosh, where's their family at? Well, their family's on a bad decline too.
Yeah.
Whether again, drug addiction issues in the family. We've all either had somebody in our family that was, whether it was drugs or alcohol or other things, different kind of mental illnesses and things like that. But I've known families where a good portion of the family was in dire straits, like people living like worse than paycheck to paycheck. They're borrowing, with the, those paycheck companies where they charge you triple your next paycheck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of extortion places, basically legal extortion. And
legal, you said it right there.
Yeah, legal extortion. Yeah. And so these entire families are not doing well, and they don't have a way to even, not only can they not support their other family member, but they themselves are, 2 steps away from being homeless themselves and everything. So yeah, it's really tough. And, the more Joe said it, I mean, we're both Christians and, and you can fight against it one way or the other, but the more we see ourselves walking away from that Judeo-Christian value system, the more we see all this stuff kind of happening. And as people get out on the streets, there isn't a lot of options once they're out there. You say, why don't you get a job? Well, most places aren't going to hire you if you don't have an address and you can't take a shower and you don't have a set of clean clothes,
or you can't get to work.
Yeah. And then and then it's compounded by I've been on the streets for so long, and to survive, I've been selling drugs and I've been selling, sex trafficking, sex working, or whatever you want to say. And now it's like, well, and now to put up with that with myself, I've gotten into drugs and things like that. So, and now I don't want to leave that lifestyle. And I want to caution people, because I used to say this before. There's these people out on the streets, they don't want to change, right? They don't want to change their lifestyle. I don't really agree with that anymore. Yeah, there are probably a few people out there that, they're completely content. The only people I would believe that from would be from somebody that doesn't have a mental illness, isn't addicted to drugs and or alcohol, and has a clear state of mind and says, you know what, I'm just done with the daily grind. I'd rather push a shopping cart around. I'd rather panhandle and live on the streets and do something, here and there. Other than that, I'm telling you right now, these people have been so, you get brainwashed by the streets. You get conditioned to live a certain way after so long. And like you were saying earlier about the guy that goes out and videos folks in like downtown Phoenix and stuff like that. And some of them he talks to, it's like, so Teresa, how long have you been out on the streets? And it's like, I've been out here 3 years now. I moved here from LA to move in with my aunt, but my aunt was a, drug addict and she kicked me out. I had nowhere to go. My family doesn't want me back in California, kind of thing. And I've been on the streets. I got a boyfriend now. And, I got into drugs and I've been, working the streets and this and that. And you start looking at these folks and it's just like us, our daily routine. We were talking about this earlier, actually not on the show, but before we did the show today, we were talking about routines and how you just get kind of stuck in a in what you're doing.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, yeah. And they are stuck in the most horrible Groundhog Day you can imagine. Now, the only thing that I would say that's a positive is that they are in a country that has things that can be provided to them, where there are folks that are in countries that they are homeless because they don't have a choice. I mean, there's no assistance or anything in a lot of these other countries. So, we have the ability, we have the means here in this country to do something for our homeless, especially our homeless vets, and like you said,
especially them,
our senior citizens. It is completely shameful that anybody that is over retirement age would be on the streets. Completely shameful that we don't have facilities and places. The amount of again, there's somebody out there. Well, we don't have money for everybody. Yes, we do. The fact that we've sent trillions of dollars to other places for, it's like, if the Grand Canyon, right, something was going wrong and we needed to, fix the Grand Canyon here in the United States, what would we do?
Oh, we'd invest. We'd send grants. We'd send the best scientists. That would do everything. We'd put up sandbags so it doesn't get flooded. Oh, right. Wait, there's already water in there.
We would fix the Grand Canyon. But when it comes to things like the rainforest, the United States has to send millions of dollars to the rainforest. The people that are surrounding the rainforest need to fix the rainforest. I'm not saying that we can't do something about it. What I'm saying is that you need to take care of your block, your home. You need to sweep your own side of the street, and we need to start doing that. As communities, we need to get out there and be more vocal to our, and if it starts at like your HOA, right, as low as your HOA,
hate those HOA,
and then your city government and your county and your state. All right, you can start low. You can start at school boards and stuff like that. Homelessness is rampant in this country, and it needs to stop. Needs to stop.
So, and you're 100% correct. I mean, you know what? I think the biggest thing, especially like during the holidays, like when everybody brought in, when you guys brought in the New Year, right? A few days ago, you guys were cheering on and drinking and having a good time and eating, right? Thinking about what are we gonna do for 2024, blah blah. Think of those homeless people out there living in those encampments in the middle of the desert, down water drainages, in under bridges, on off ramps. Think about all them folks and what they're asking for. You know what I mean? And a lot of these probably don't ask for a lot because they have mental health issues, right? Or they have PTSD, or they just feel like they're stuck in something that they could never come out of. Those are important things that we need to really look at. We need to start thinking like, how can we help society as a whole? I think it's important that we start at home. We start with our own kids, right? With our own family, and giving them some ethical standards, right? Some moral ground, and letting them know, that we have to, as not just the U.S. citizens, but as God's citizens, we have to do better for our own communities, for our own people,
right?
And we need to just wake up and realize that the government isn't here to help. The government's like a business. If they get something out of it, they're going to invest in it. What is investing in homeless people going to get out? Nothing. So why invest in it?
Nothing at all.
Right? So we got to do better as a society.
Yeah.
We got to do better as human beings, and help people fix that problem. If you have a person that you haven't heard from for a while that they're homeless, go out there and check on them. Bring them home. Give them a shower. Give them a warm bed. Make them feel welcome again. Yeah. We don't know the circumstances, but for anyone to be out there, I think it's horrible right now at this point. If I had a family member that I knew that was homeless, I'd go scoop them up. The least I get is free labor for something. You know what I mean? They're going to give me something. Clean up the dog poop or something.
Yeah.
But you think they're not going to be
how to sweep a floor.
You know how to sweep a floor, right? You know how to mop, right? I know you do, Felipe.
I don't do windows, so.
I know you do, Felipe. But you know what I mean? The people, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to contribute back to society. But people won't give them the chance because they're in the circumstances that they are. Yeah. So we have to do better as citizens of this great nation and as just human beings, man. Don't rely on the government. They'll screw you over every time.
Yeah.
So
we don't trust them. We don't like them.
Nah. only my dad. Trump. Poppy Trump.
All right, everybody. Well, Happy New Year. We're a couple days in. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, and that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. It helps the channel grow tremendously. If there's a topic you would like to see us cover in the future, let us know at joeandjayproductions.com/ideas. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Take care of one another.
And remember, do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless America. We'll see ya.
See ya.